So a lot of action in the playoff stat, and
Last night?
I'm watching it. Yeah, I'm watching it, and I just have to ask you a question. I know that defenseman for the Leafs that blocked the shot. I know his intentions were good, but I mean, why do they? What would you tell a defenseman like that? You being a defenseman, like what can you say?
Yeah, that was for the winner last night in overtime.
Campbell, let me put it this way to you. If Campbell hadn't seen that shot, he'd have had it in his hip pocket, as they say.
Well, don't they teach you that in minor hockey?
Well, they teach it. I'm not going to mention our defense or anything like that, but our defense never blocked a shot. Very rarely blocked a shot.
The Bruins were our.
You know what? Let me just tell you about the time, and I've told this story before, is that I think this will explain it pretty good. And so a reporter looked and he saw that Jerry Cheevers, our goaltender, asked. He said, "Well, you played behind Don Cherry. What kind of a defenseman he was?" Well, he says, "I can't say he was a good because he's the coach." Eh? So he thought a minute and he said, "Well, he let me see the puck." There's no way that would get by. That puck would have got by.
Well,
Campbell.
just to go on to that a little bit, you remember, you told me the story that Cheevers, you played with Al Arbor in Rochester.
I was talking before. Well, I was going to say it was Al Arbor. Anyhow, well, I guess. And he was the best I ever saw at blocking shots. But he'd commit to blocking shots.
And let me say something about Al Arbor. As a little girl watching him play hockey, can you imagine blocking a shot with wearing real glasses? Like wearing glasses.
Like glasses.
Like real glass in, and
I think he was
going,
the last guy to wear them.
And I can remember him going on the bench every time after a shift and wiping his poor glasses off. I felt so bad for him all the time.
I'll tell you a funny story.
We just go on and on.
I could go on and on. I remember Daryl coming to the bench. I had changed, and I was on the bench at the end. And Daryl he took Daryl's side, the right side. And Daryl stops it, and he's, come on, and he's waving, he's cleaning his glasses. He's, come on, the guys are breakaway. And remember, he all.
Well, they must fog up, right?
I don't know what he did, but anyhow, he could block shots better than anybody I ever saw.
But you said that Cheevers wasn't happy with him
No,
sometimes.
and so I'm having a pop with Cheevers, and I said, boy, that he can really block shots and everything. He's yeah, and I said to myself, he doesn't seem happy. And he says, if it gets by him, it's in. And I thought to myself, that's right. If the puck gets by, if underneath him, it's in. And that's when I saw that let the goaltender see the puck. There's no way that he would have scored on a Campbell.
So what would that poor defenseman do, though? He was sort of right in front of him.
What he should have done is taken the body. And I didn't taught, but I'm not going to teach Ricky Smith or guys like that. But I wanted them to go out and not block the shot. They're going to block it. Block it. Do anything you want in the world, but don't let it go through you. Once it goes through you, now last night, 3 out of the three goals were Price in the other end too.
Yeah, both goals were tipped by him by the defenseman.
And his own guys. Yeah, his own guys. And
Price, if he sees it, he'll stop it. Same as Campbell. They played terrific last night. What hurt them was their own defenseman. Don't stick your stick in the way. Just think about it. If you're a goaltender, you're concentrated on that guy coming in, and all of a sudden you see a stick go out. It doesn't have to hit the stick. Just to see the stick go up, it kind of throws you off a little bit. And there's no way you would ever score on Campbell from there. There's no way.
Because when you saw it in slow-mo, the puck started to flutter. It was like a knuckleball.
And he's looking to where is it? And it's the same way. If you're going to block it, block it. Don't half block it.
So sometimes your defensemen can be your own worst enemies. Didn't Gump Worsley get sent down because of a quote like that he said with the Rangers when he...
Oh, he did. Somebody asked him...
A reporter asked him.
He was playing for the Rangers.
Yeah.
And he says, what team gives you the hardest time? He says, the New York Rangers.
And he was gone.
Yeah, Phil Watson sent him down.
To you, wasn't it?
No,
was
he said that
Springfield.
to a reporter.
I thought didn't he send him down to Springfield? Wasn't he? He made your
Well,
team.
in Springfield, seem to be getting off, and we're getting off. If you were bad in the National Hockey League, if you were a bad guy, or if you didn't get along with a coach, he'd send you to Springfield. It was like Devil's Island. You get sent to Eddie Shore. Guys actually had it in their contract they couldn't be sent to Springfield. And I was at his absolute worst. 3.5 years I was there. And I guess that's where you toughened up and everything. And Brian Kilray was there too. Brian liked him, believe it or not. And Brian Kilray, you know that Brian Kilray scored the first goal of the Los Angeles Kings?
Is that right?
Yeah,
That's
and
a
he
good
asked,
trivia.
to leave the National Hockey League. Yeah, he actually asked
To go where?
to Springfield.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
So what do we?
We'll go back to things. So the emergency rooms were filled last night with all the bandwagon jumpers jumping off and breaking their ankles with the Leafs. So everybody. This will be Monday morning with the show will air. So what's going to happen Game 7? Do you think?
I predicted, and I was asked who's going to win and I said Canadiens. I think the Leafs will. I never saw a team running around in their own end like the Montreal Canadiens. It is unbelievable. 5 guys over here, 5 guys here. I mean,
that was your big thing when you coached. You didn't care what they did in the other team's end.
I'm going to tell John Busick how to score goals.
That's right. But boy, they did what they were told in your own end.
And the guys I had trouble with were Ricky Middleton. And at the end, he was one of the best, but not Terry O'Reilly. He was. And I remember I said to Peter McNabb, he says, how do you know what side he's playing on? Terry O'Reilly. He says, I feel sorry for the operator. I don't know what he's going to do, and I'm a centerman. And
that was Peter. He says, I feel sorry for the opposition because nobody knows what Terry's going to do. He goes, I don't know what he's going to do. So, Dad, you've coached a lot of superstars, Phil and Bobby and
Brad Park,
Brad Park and stuff. And boy, Marner and Matthews are in a slump.
Well, Marner, I know, but Matthews had 7 shots last night.
Yeah.
I mean, you have 7 shots. I don't know what's going on.
They don't look like they're having a good time, though. When you see them on the bench, they don't look happy.
Well, they're not scoring.
Well, he just doesn't seem right. Like Marner getting that puck, killing the penalty with nobody around him, and flipping it into the stands. Like,
that's a funny one. And I couldn't believe he did that. And he did it, and he knew right away.
As soon as he did it, yeah.
I never used to. Who started all that stuff? Was Cheevers. Jerry Cheevers, the goaltender for Boston Bruins, Hall of Famer. When he think the thing was going, he just flipped it. He just shoot it.
Put it in the stands. That's right.
Yeah, just stop the play.
But there again, you never had you say Marner or whoever the superstars killing the penalties. You never had your superstars killing the penalties.
No, I had specialists.
You had specialists. So there's a difference between you and them right now.
I don't understand
why do they play those guys on the killing penalties?
Don't ask me. Marner plays the power play, plays the regular shift, and he kills penalties. So
I mean, they must want their money's worth out of him.
What's his name? Kerfoot.
Kerfoot. Yeah.
Yeah, he's.
But like,
he'd be great killing penalties.
Do you just got to keep playing those guys to death?
You got to. I predict that Matthews will get a goal the next time, and he better get a goal because so far it hasn't worked out so good so far.
No, so you're picking Toronto. So
I'm picking Toronto
in the tonight. Well,
I picked Toronto right from the start.
Yeah.
And
but as you say, the wild card is Price. He just might say,
if Price says,
"Let me see the puck.
See the puck.
Don't tip it by me. It will be okay."
If you just let him. Because if he sees it, he'll stop it.
Would a goalie say that to his defenseman? Say, guys, give me a break.
You have to be very careful. You notice the defenseman, and it tipped in. You notice Campbell didn't say anything to Boatsy. No, I did better.
Bogosian.
I didn't want to say his name, but he.
Well, everybody has on the news, so.
Yeah, I don't like to say the guy's name because he tried his best, and it just ticked him a little bit.
So a goalie won't say anything to his defenseman.
No. Might if he's having a beer, I might say, look, let me see the puck. But two went in off, like we said earlier. Two went in. Price went off the defenseman.
The one thing I noticed, and you like this because you're in the goalies. Like you look at Campbell and all the other goalies, they drink out of a normal Gatorade bottle, and then they spray it all over themselves, right?
Yeah.
And Carey Price uses like a little straw.
Because he's got manners. And plus, you know what? He mustn't like being wet underneath his mask. Like, it grosses me out.
He's the only goalie that does that.
Is he?
Yeah, thinks that.
But who wants to get their face all wet when you're underneath the
Well,
mask?
cold water
Listen,
wakes you up, right?
Yeah, wakes you up.
Oh, it gets you all wet.
I know it doesn't look like, but they're roasting in there, and then they get
Dell,
told-
when he played goal, his mother told him, I said, Dell, after they score on you, don't take a drink of water because it's a sign that you're upset and all this. It's because it's a habit, right, Dad? Because they're not really that thirsty. They can't be that thirsty.
I don't know.
It's a habit.
I know we were thirsty.
Yeah, but a goalie every time.
I remember going. You know, it's a funny thing. We were taught not to drink water. I mean, it's hard to believe.
Well, there wasn't water on the bench.
No, there was no water on the bench. How ridiculous! I mean that.
And then they wonder
And
why
we were taught right from junior.
And then they wonder why you guys went out after the game drinking. I mean, really. I mean, talk about having to replenish your.
Guys used to lose 8 pounds in a game. You go to Hershey, it would be hot in there. You'd have the big heavy sweaters on. You'd lose. And but anyhow.
So just another quick question. We'll talk about the Jets. Let's just talk about Edmonton and the Jets because that series will be starting soon. So, Paul Maurice, would you be happy that you've had this long?
No, I never. We had a bye. I remember we had a bye. We were in first spot. They used to have a bye then if you were in first spot. And I did everything. I took money off them. I said, bet, and I had games. You lose a little something. It's going to take a while for Winnipeg to crank it up again. If they could have gone in 3 days later, would have been perfect. He'll go anything. But how long have they been off now?
Well, it'll be well over a week now.
Yeah.
Because they swept, and they started, so at
You
least
lose that little.
So no scrimmages can ever equal a
No.
game.
You
No
try,
matter
you
what.
try your best. I did best. I took $50, and you know how cheap hockey players are.
They're East-West games.
The
And
East-West games, and we had referees. I had a referee, you know, and the linesman. Didn't do any good. You lose a little something. So whoever plays, and Toronto will be playing them, and it'll be tough. It'll get after Winnipeg because it'll take Winnipeg a little longer to get the rust off, and it did us.
I know I was going to ask you. We'll go back to the Toronto Montreal thing for a minute. So Montreal was 2,500 people, and they let the tickets out, and they must have given them to had certain people.
Yeah.
And then those people put them online. They were going for like $2,000-$3,000 a ticket. And you saw how there was a lot of people with Toronto sweaters on. If I was in Montreal, would you not be a little mad if you were Montreal Canadiens organization? So you let 2,500 people in, and there's a whole bunch of Maple Leaf fans.
And there was but you know what? It's funny thing is, when you're a Toronto Maple Leaf fan, and when I was with Hockey Night in Canada, we'd go to Vancouver, we'd go to any place you went. The crowd was always for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I don't ask me why. And I remember Harry Neal. He said, if you like Toronto so much, why don't you go back there? And he was mad because every time they'd score, there would be a bigger crowd. And even in Montreal, believe it or not, when they'd score, the big crowd, they just loved the Leafs.
I remember there was a guy from Vancouver. They were playing the Leafs, and they asked the Vancouver guy, they said, what's your game plan? And he said, we got to get a goal early and get the crowd out of the game.
That was in Vancouver.
That was in Vancouver.
I don't know. The people in Ontario, they all somehow, I would be ticked off if I was Montreal. And it was supposed to be Montreal fans, and they were all Toronto
But it was
fans.
funny though. You saw 2,500 there, and then you saw the Bruins. They had 70. They had just under a sellout. They had because you can't have people behind the bench. But you're right. I think everybody had a sweater on. But
It was unbelievable.
Yeah, they said it was really loud too.